Okay, today we're going to break down a duck, and I say breaking down because we're going to break it down into its individual pieces. It's very similar to breaking down a chicken, and I have a separate bonus lesson on that. We're going to start with the wings, and first we're going to pull them back and try to pop the joint, okay? Then we're going to cut around the joint as close to the wing as we can, okay? Because we don't want to be cutting away the any parts of the other pieces of the duck, okay? And then we're going to cut off these tips. Now the tips can be used to make duck stock, okay? So we're going to cut those off. We can use them for stock. The wings can be cooked just like chicken wings, all right? Now we'll do the other wing. This duck is still a little bit frozen, so it's a little bit hard to work with. Oh, and I forgot to mention, the knife that we're using for this is a filleting knife, all right? Now the next, or boning knife you might call it also. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to take off the legs, and we're going to start where the leg meets the underside, I'm sorry, the top side of the duck. And you can cut into the skin, and you want to just cut alongside of the duck leg between the breast, this is the breast, and the duck leg, and you want to don't want to be cutting into the breast if you can avoid it. Then you want to come back as far as you can around then across the top. Actually, this is the back of the duck. Okay, and I'm going to pull this back a little bit and then cut through between the back and the thigh. All right, now here we have a duck leg and thigh combination. They're usually left together when they're cooked. If you want to separate them, I will show you how to do that later. All right, now we're going to do this, the other leg. I can find, oh, there it is, okay. And start the same way between the breast and the leg. Trying not to cut into the breast here. Cut around as far toward the back as you can. And I usually pop it at this point so you can see this bone here, and then cut around that bone along the back. There we go. All right, now next thing we're going to do is the breasts. All right, so to get the breast, we want to, there's the backbone here. We want to cut along the backbone, and then whichever side of the backbone we've ended up on, we want to start kind of shaving the breast away from that backbone. You want to leave, don't want to leave any of the breast meat on the bone, right? That would be wasted. It'll go into stock, but still better to have it on the breast so that when you eat it, you have more meat. And then just cut along that breastbone, okay, and shave away the breast until you have a nice breast piece, okay? And we want to do the same thing with the other side. Now you might turn it around, you might, whichever way is more comfortable for you. Okay, now there we have the other breast. Now, this carcass I will use to make stock. And I have a separate lesson on making duck stock. Also have a separate lesson on, well actually the same lesson is, I have a lesson on making duck stock, and I have a separate lesson on rendering duck fat and making duck cracklings. Okay, now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take as much fat as I can off of this carcass, all right, because when we make our stock, we want to have as little of this skin and fat going into the stock as possible. It'll make it easier to defat it later, and also if the stock happens to get too hot and the fat gets emulsified, into the stock, it can be very hard to get it out at that point. So I like to get as much of the fat off beforehand as possible. And there's a lot of fat on a duck. That's why they're able to swim in cold water. And okay, so I'll trim a little bit more of that away before I use it to make the duck stock. Okay, so there we have the leg and thigh. All right, now these can be separated, but I usually leave them together. Now if you want to separate them, I'll just show you how. You find this fat line here. You can see there's a line of fat right here, okay? And then you just cut in that fat line, okay? And that will separate the leg from the thigh, all right? That is breaking down a duck. You have 2 duck legs and thighs, we have 2 breasts, and we have 2 wings, and we have a carcass.